Hey y'all, welcome to Neat Disciples. My name is Philip. This is Jeremy. Welcome to the show. Today we're joined by Tim, who rodeos. He does calf roping events.
That's right.
Tie down calf roping, trains horses, and is in construction. So I would just say he's a man's man.
Sounds good.
So that's
I'll
why
agree with you guys.
Yeah, I won't argue.
So we wanted to have him come on the show and talk about his walk with Christ and how that ties into rodeo. Maybe we'll learn a little bit about rodeo today.
I will.
Yeah. So first off, I got great news.
Yeah.
We were voted the 9th best YouTube channel / podcast by my wife.
Really?
Yes.
Well, how many does she watch?
8. So
That sounds about
You'll
right.
have me here now, so hopefully
so
it'll go
we're
up a little
good.
bit.
We're gonna move up. Maybe it'll be number 2 next week.
Yeah,
on
number two,
that.
yeah.
About
Let's go
right.
for that.
So rodeo, and we were talking about this when we started filming. Dates back to really the 1600s in Mexico. And when was it in America? It came to America?
I believe it was the late 1800s.
Late 1800s. So wow. And then how did rodeo kind of come about? Like what drove the sport of rodeo?
So, you have two very competitive ranches that are side by side, and you've got a couple, they're top hands, and, it's kind of a who's got the best cowboy around kind of deal. And I believe ranches would get together and they'd have events, and people would come out to watch the best top hands in the neighboring ranches, and they'd get on bucking horses and see who could ride them the best. It's more of just a sport that's kind of how it organically began. Started with that. I mean, it moves all the way through. I mean, the calf roping. And calf roping is something you would use out on the prairie every day. If you're by yourself, you would be on a horseback and you'd have a sick calf out there that you don't want to pin, 100 cows to go dock this one calf. You just want to go ahead and single that one calf out and get a rope on it to where you can handle it and doctor it so they can be good on the prairie. So you would use your horse to rope the calf, get them to the ground which way you can, tie their legs up so they're not going to get up, and administer any kind of medication, antibiotics that you would need, and then untie them and let them go. So that's kind of how my event originated.
Yeah.
So are most of the rodeo events originate in that fashion? Like most of them are something that they would have experienced in an everyday life on a ranch, and now they've obviously become an event over the years. But whether it's
most of them you would. The bulldogging is something. If you didn't have a rope, Bill Pickett, he was one of the first ones to do that. Is he'd run up alongside a big longhorn steer and grab them and throw them to the ground. That way they could administer them. And I think once they figured out it was a lot of fun to do out on the range by yourself all day long, they started doing it.
I'm bored. Let's go tackle it.
Let's go do this.
Yeah.
Team roping's another one. If you have two people rope, if it's a bigger animal that you're not going to be able to leg down or mug to the ground where you can administer medication, you would rope the head of the cow and then also rope some back two hind legs if you can, and stretch them out, lay them over, and administer. I mean, that's pretty much how it all started, is just cowboys out there taking care of their animals.
Yeah, right. Well, I've learned something today.
Yeah, and I don't think bull riding was. I think that might have just been a daredevil event.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
really
I would
see a
guess.
use
There
for
might have been
that.
some whiskey involved.
There may have been some bourbon involved.
Just kind of go full circle here.
That's right.
Hey, I bet you I can ride that wild bull over there.
I'm
That's
sure
how
it started that way.
Here, hold my beer.
That's what I would say, yeah.
So no, that's great. And the first rodeo was actually in Prescott, Arizona. It's the first organized rodeo. So a lot of history with that. But here in Texas, we have a lot of rodeos, and you participate in a lot of rodeos and a lot of events, and it takes a lot. So we're gonna look at a little bit of footage of Tim in action. So here's a really good wide shot of Tim.
So this is at Rosenberg, Texas, I believe last year. This is a mare I actually trained myself. This was she's 6 now. This is her 5-year-old year. This is a performance, which means that all the crowd and everything is there and it's loud. The announcer gets loud. And just as a training aspect, what I'm looking at is watching the horse. As you can see, I'm asking the horse to catch the cow, or put me in a position to catch the cow. And then I'm going to go ahead and step off and actually leave her. And her job is to stop and hold that calf in position and actually pull that calf towards me without any assistance of myself. So that's one of the biggest things about training a calf horse, is you're actually going to leave that animal and they are going to have to do some of that stuff themselves.
So here we have another clip. This is cell phone footage turn sideways.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
No, it's okay. It looks a little different.
So this is actually a couple weekends ago, just to let you know. I'm still doing it. So this is actually a 8-year-old horse named Hook that some really good friends of mine training performance horses. They train this horse, and their owners let me ride it. A few rodeos here to kind of get them seasoned. This calf here is a fresh calf, which means fresh is they've never actually been roped or tied. So it makes it a little more critical on how you use your horse, how you score, and how you lay the calf down to where they're not going to kick you to where you can tie them to hopefully win some money.
So I have questions.
I'm ready.
I think I think you know that I've moved. I'm new to Texas.
Sure.
And so I'm married to a woman who, when we go to the rodeos, she roots for the cows.
Okay. Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
So I'll ask questions for her. Like, so how many times in an event will a calf be roped?
So at a pro rodeo event, that calf you're going to need to bring half enough, which means if you have 100 calf ropers, you're going to have to bring at least 50 calves. They're going to go twice in that event.
All right. So they're not they're in rotation, but just twice.
That's they're going to go twice. It's not the same calf every time.
Yeah.
They're out of breath and tongue's hanging out. Right?
Or scared to death or whatever. Yeah, I don't know what they go through. But
man.
yeah, it sure,
no, it's,
sure looks intimidating.
Sure. And that's I think as a professional growing up the Western way of life. I mean, me myself, I own calves, I own horse, I own livestock, and I know how to even sometimes without consulting a vet, the best way to take care of that animal. So with these with roping calves and this and that, your better competitors, the ones that can control the outcome of how the calf lays and this and that, are actually going to be a little bit more friendly to the calf than someone who's maybe, if you or Wiggy decided, hey, I'm going to come rope your calves, and you can rope them, but you can't handle your slack, your horse is dragging off, all these different things come into effect. So the faster you are, the shorter amount of time you're disrupting anything.
Right. How heavy are the calves? I imagine they got to be like a particular.
That's correct.
Within a range.
When you're a kid, 150, 160 pound calf is pretty average, I would say. A certain kind of breed of calf, a dairy calf, is going to be more docile. They're not going to be quite as aggressive to run your 12-year-old son over and not He's not going to want to rope very much after that, right? So you're going to want to have a training tool to do that. Like at these rodeos here, I would imagine those last two clips, those calves were around 200, 220 pounds.
All right.
Somewhere there. So they're average, they're going to be a little bit heavier than I am.
And then they kind of weigh out at a certain point. So once they get to a certain weight,
once they get to a certain point, sometimes you can go to some places and like Prescott you're talking about, or Cheyenne, some of the older rodeos in the world, they're going to rope bigger calves because it's more of an old school type deal. So some of those, you can be roping a calf that weighs 250 to 300 pounds. But if you go to even if you go to Rodeo Houston, it's probably the closest, most known rodeo, you're going to have calves that are, I think that changes from year to year, but you're going to average somewhere between 200 and 220 pounds. Yeah. And actually, like PRCA, if you bring calves that are supposed to weigh a certain amount, and they don't weigh that, they can actually find the producer who brings those calves. Mm-hmm. So it's just to make sure the playing field is as equal as possible.
And then once a calf weighs out, whatever the terminology would be, where they're too heavy to do this event, do they move on to another event, or they just get to go live on a farm someday, or or do they go to Whataburger?
They go to a steakhouse.
So most of the time, in some events, they have breakaway roping now. It's very popular for the ladies. Okay, so a lot of times if they're maybe too big for the tie down roper to be able to get down or whatever, they'll go to the breakaway.
Okay.
But that's not everywhere. That's not every case. Sometimes they're done, then they're going to go to a feedlot somewhere and get fed out. They're going to go to a patch somewhere and grow until they're able to move on from there.
Yeah. All right.
So yes, sir.
All right. Enough questions about the calves. That's for my wife, who roots for the calves. So.
Right. So as we watch this last one here, just imagine having to pick up and drop 220 to 250 pounds of cow. Where is this one at?
This is at Crosby. This is I believe it's the year before last. I was trying to send some videos to you that showed different horses that I've roped on. This is a horse that I bought as a 2-year-old that right here, I think he's 9 or 10. His name was Dietz. I actually sold him about a week after this video was filmed. But you can see there, like him, he's a really good horse. He's gonna run as fast as he can to the calf, not just running wild, but to a position where you can actually rope the calf. There's a difference. You want a horse to be able to run there and rate to the calf. A lot of these horses have a cutting bred or they're a cow working bred or cow bred to where they're going to seek out that cow, whatever it is, and it's bred into them. So they're going to go put themselves in a position to where you can rope the calf, and then also his timing. When I say his timing, whenever I draw my slack, and I've roped the calf around the neck, I can place my slack wherever I want to, and he's going to let me time to do that. But once I get it there, he's going to be able to finish that calf around and get him coming to me to where he has no option but to come towards me. And my job, a calf like that, when Dietz is pulling like that, and a bigger calf, you've got to think is just flank tall. Because they're coming at you, and if you're not ready for them right there or they come at you, and they can pull them right by you. And
Well, to your point, Philip, I can't imagine doing any of that, to be honest with you. I mean, I could tell you want to know exactly when I would have fallen off the horse. It'd have been long before the gate opened, you know. But I mean, it's impressive. It looks like just a well-oiled machine. You know, you and the horse really more than the calf. Poor calf is just running for his life, right? I'd imagine at that point. But just you roping the calf, you hopping off the horse. I know I'm not using the right terminology here, but
no, you're fine.
That's okay. But you're hopping off the horse. The horse obviously is still doing its job. It's yanking, the rope and the calf backwards.
Right.
I mean, it's just impressive that it's. And so I asked this question, before we started recording, but this is where I think that trust between you and the horse is important. But you also just showed us, if I counted right, 3 different horses, right?
Right.
Yeah. So what is it like? So the first one, I think you said you trained, if I remember. I don't remember the horse's name.
Yeah, I trained the first one and the third one. The second was trained by some really good friends of mine.
All right. So can you just hop on a horse that's been trained and do well, or do you need a couple of runs, with that horse for it to trust you and you to trust it? I think trust may not even be the word. Maybe it's just comfort.
You can get on it. If one is trained, I believe you'll be able to get on that horse and you'll be able to do your job. But I don't know if doing your job is going to win very much money.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's a difference there, right? It's just like anything. If you get a different car,
you're right.
It has different horsepower, tires are different, this and that. It's going to be a different.
Even the horse has probably got to be thinking like, this doesn't feel right. This feels different.
And some horses and some riders, I mean, they could be easy going. Old Bob out there, get on old Bob. He's fun to rope on. Then old Bob might buck you off. It's just because I think horses are like us. I mean, they have a soul and they've got a mind and they're thinking as you're on them. So I think you can get on it. The best horses in the world are the horses that just make your job the easiest.
Yeah.
They're the ones that it's like a really good referee or something at a basketball game or something to where, man, you don't really even know they're even there. They're doing their job, but you won't know they're really there. They're just there to make sure that the game is going.
How long does it take to train a horse to do this?
So you can mash on. It depends a little bit on the horse. I have a full-time job in construction. I'm a superintendent. We do commercial construction around the Houston area. So if I get to ride a horse, my personal horse, 4 or 5 times a week, man, I'm doing good. It takes me longer than it's going to take someone who is this is all they do.
Right.
This is their job.
Yeah.
So I would say, like a really good friend of mine, you can have a horse trained to go to a rodeo, to jackpot season in around 6 months, kind of depending on the horse.
That's impressive.
Now
there's a lot going on there. I mean,
so you're gonna actually get that horse to where he's broke to a saddle, he's broke to ride, he's getting a handle on him. You'll be able to connect the horse to his through his mouth to his feet to his brain, right? You'll be able to move that horse to where it's an extension of your body. But once that's a process. And then once they get like that, then you can move on to a specific event if they're going to be doing that. So calf horses he's gonna. I have one now. He's 3 years old that. I bought he's a year and a half. I had a friend of mine riding for 3 months, got 9 days of riding on him, getting roped to a saddle, this and that. And I mean, I've been roping on him now this last, 6 or so months. Not hard, just kind of getting used to everything. Some horses, it can take some time. But I mean, if you have one that's a 4-year-old horse that's ready to go, it's in shape. I mean, I would think in 6 months, you could get them to where they're going to be jackpot ready. Yeah. Then the seasoning portion begins.
Sure.
But right now they have futurities, and there's AQHA shows futurities, so it's going to behoove you to move that horse along quicker because they have futurities that are 4 and under horses and 5 and 6-year-old horses. So
good use of the word behoove. I love that word. I really do. I love behoove. It's a good word.
Big word.
Yeah. What's a good time? So what's
it all depends. So it's going to depend on your cattle.
Okay.
It's going to depend on how much you have to see the calf out before you're able to chase
So it's really
the
from
cow.
show to show.
Show to show, it's going to change.
All right.
What
do you shoot for?
A good time, first.
Good
Whatever that is, no.
It behooves you to shoot for first.
Last weekend, I think went to rodeo over to Columbus. I think a 8.6 won it.
Whoa. Okay.
And that was a good run. But I was like on the run you saw, I was 10-3. I think I was 1 or 2 places out from placing.
Wow.
So it just kind of
That's crazy fast.
And then you go to some places though, and you've got to be under 7.7 or something like. It just depends on what it is and who's there competing. Also, it's the first.
I didn't imagine the conditions of the ring, right? The dirt, how soft the dirt is in the
it all
what's
plays
it called,
a part.
the arena.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine just everything is.
Yeah. It all plays a part of it for sure.
All right, I asked way more questions than I told you I would, so I'll shut up now and let you get back to your podcast.
We're learning about rodeo and horse training. Well, so let's tie it into scripture then. So, we talked about, horse training. I realize it probably takes a lot of patience, a lot of endurance and consistency to get those horses where they are. How does that reflect what the Bible says in your mind about endurance and patience and being consistent?
So, I think if we look into ourselves and how we want our relationship to be with Christ, and how you can look at a young horse that you're wanting to be the best version of itself, you can go and if you're disciplined enough to spend this much time in your Bible or if you're in your prayer time or whatever, your relationship's only going to be as good as if I go out and I'm with that horse for this much time during the day and I'm picking his feet up, I'm cleaning his feet up, I'm brushing him, I'm making sure his mane and tail is clean, I'm making sure he's brushed off, he has clean water to drink, and I'm giving the best care I can through the training process. I think if you match that with the same discipline you have with spending your time with the Lord, I feel like you're going to, it depends on how good you want it. I think the Lord, there's no ceiling on your relationship with the Lord. Like a horse is a little bit different there because it'll only be as good as that horse wants to be. But I think with discipline and how you apply yourself to that I think that's how I can look at that.
That was a good answer. I kind of thought of, as you're describing some of what you would do with the horse, that to what Jesus says about pruning.
Sure.
That you're not pruning the horse obviously, but you're caring for it, you're cleaning it up, you're seeing to it that it's got everything that it needs and it's healthy and so on. And that's what Jesus does, with us, with the whole imagery of the vine and the pruning, and that he's cleaning us up and he's caring for us and making sure we have what we need. And that was a good answer.
Yeah, and you get out of it what you put into it too. And you talked earlier, it depends on how much time I can put. So I kind of liken that to, if I can spend, an hour a day in scripture with God, then my relationship is going to be a lot deeper and a lot better than if I can only spend 5 minutes like every other day.
Right.
And if you only put 5 minutes in, you certainly probably couldn't expect to go to a competition and do well.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if we only put five minutes into our walk every day, it's going to be a difficult relationship.
You're going to get in, but it's the back door.
There you go. Yeah.
So do you see any parallels between breaking a horse and God working on our hearts?
Oh yeah, I think there's a lot of parallels there, because a horse sometimes doesn't know what's good for it. Just like I think God made us, we don't sometimes always know what's good for us. Sometimes it's hard sometimes to take the time out to it's kind of like working out, it's kind of like one of those things where, man, when you're doing it, man, it feels amazing. You feel growth, feel healthy, this and that, but it's still every morning taking the time and the discipline to get up and go do that. It's kind of the same thing. I think that's, working with a young horse, training them to be a calf horse, just like you talked about pruning. You're taking all the things that, the qualities that you're trying to remove from that horse as you're in the training process. If you have a good, talented horse, everything's there. So you're pretty much purging out the things that, okay, he does this, he does that, whatever it is, and he's going to bend by my will what I ask him to do, and he's going to be healthier because of it. Because if he knows his job, it's going to be a lot easier than not knowing. If you know what your job is, it may be hard, but you can do it.
Yeah.
I think if you don't know what your actual job is, then it's going to be a lot tougher on you. And I think that's the same with us. If we're walking through life and we don't have, I was talking to my pastor the other day, and he was talking about spending time with the Lord, and he said, man, if you're on a job site and you're not talking with your electrician, your plumber, and your concrete guy before you get going that morning, boy, who knows what you're going to end up with by the afternoon, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not talking to the head guy and make sure all your ducks in a row before you get going, you're going to have a problem on your hands most likely. So I think that's how. So.
Love that analogy. Has there been a moment throughout your rodeo career where your faith was tested? And if so, like, how did God show up in that moment?
So I think the biggest thing that tests me is being a Christian man. I know what God. I know how much time you need to put into something to get something good out of it. And when you're, especially as I've gotten older and having a family, having kids. My wife, she's diehard about rodeoing, and she's very competitive, which I'm competitive as well. But if I feel like I don't have a legitimate chance to go win something, if I'm riding a green horse would be a younger horse that is not seasoned, that doesn't know his job as well as one that's been there, done that, right? If I'm not riding the best horse there, and if I don't feel like I've got a legitimate chance to win good money, then I kind of get like, I don't know if I really want to go, or I can get down on myself. Oh, you're not good enough. What are you doing? You're wasting your time, this and that. I feel like God can question you in that as you're going through that. Is this my purpose, God? Is this what you need me to do? Am I supposed to be out here rodeoing, doing this and that? I'm kind of a different kind of a guy. I'm a little bit more to myself. I'm not one up there spreading the good news on with the rodeo, because I'm competitive, and there's time for spreading the good news. There's a time to stick it on somebody. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what happens to me. But God's always been faithful through all of it, just providing me with the means to do it physically, for giving me the drive and the desire to do it. I feel like that can speak to my kids and whoever. So you really want something, if you're willing to put the elbow grease in, you can get it done. Mm-hmm. And then asking, I know there's been times I've been at ropings and stuff, and maybe I haven't, wintertime's hard on me. I don't like the change. I like the cooler weather, but it's hard to get out and really get after it in the wintertime. And I know I was at a big roping one winter a few years back, and some of the best guys in the world were there. I'm talking the cream of the crops there. And I'm not making a living with the rope. I mean, I'm not. I enjoy it. It's more than a hobby to me. It's a lifestyle, but and I just had to go to God and say, Lord, take this anxiety out of what I like. These guys put their jeans on just like I did, mm-hmm. and I put my time in. I take this anxiety away from me, and so as soon as I prayed that prayer, God just filled me with Himself, and it was just like, it's not like everything went great, but I was happy with it either way. Mm-hmm. So it's funny if you're willing to, you talked earlier about some of being a man's man. Even a man's man can be a strong Christian. I believe that, but I believe just because you've got tough hands and a hard back, that I think some of the toughest men I know are people who are some of the strongest followers of the Lord, because they're laying themselves down for Him. They're not putting themselves forward. So. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I went along pretty well.
No. I mean, I was thinking, like, I need to know that prayer to remove the anxiety, because this is off topic a little bit, but I was thinking, like, what you're describing is like whenever I go golfing, it's the first tee, and there's a foursome there, like after you, and so you got 8 guys there watching you after your first drive of the day, and I'm always like, I'm gonna screw this up. There's a 90% chance I'm gonna hit that house or whatever.
Right.
So I just kind of I was thinking along those lines, when you're just like, whether you're thinking you're out of your league or mm-hmm. whatever, just I could see where that'd be just kind of a little nerve-wracking. Like,
sure,
these are people that do this for a living. What are they going to think of me? And I would hazard to guess that they're all good guys, and they just appreciate someone out there doing it. They love it. They love people doing it.
Money,
I'd imagine that it's a camaraderie. That there's a community there that's a lot more than I'll ever understand, or someone that doesn't rodeo understand. Whether they're professional, amateur, whatever is in between, mm-hmm. That there's just a respect for the sport, the event, the animals, the families. Mm-hmm. I've hung out with a couple of families here, being here now, that are rodeo families, and I just get this sense that there's just a lot of community in there. And a lot of respect amongst the competitors.
Yeah, the Western way of life, it'll grow a person up because it's not just you and a ball, it's you and an animal that you're having to take care of, or even golf clubs that you can go put in your
Yeah, we don't need to
closet,
get caught up in the golf club thing. I don't really care about my golf clubs like you care about your horses, but
I just say it gives you something you've got to get out there and you've got to, you tend to, and
and that's a good point though too. Just, you have a relationship with this animal. And to me it's a horse. To you it's a, I don't know. It's more than that. It's a best friend. It's a,
they have been. They have been.
Yeah. And those horses are huge, man.
Yeah.
Huge.
Some of them are.
No, I respect the heck out of anyone that willingly hops on those things and can control them to that degree. It's stupid how good they are. Yeah, and how big those animals are. It's bravery. It's you're crazy. On one hand.
They start you young.
Maybe, but it's impressive for for a newbie like me. It's as impressive as it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to learn that prayer, man, with that anxiety now that we're the 9th favorite YouTube channel podcast in my lives. Like that's a lot to live up to.
Yeah, let's
start thinking about it for sure. Yeah.
I'm feeling the weight of it already.
So, if you could sum up being a man of God and a cowboy in 1 or 2 sentences, what would that be?
Oh, I was thinking about this. Just because there's just some storms outside doesn't mean you don't need to go saddle up, get out there and get after it. There's things in your life that are maybe it could be tough right now. You're going through whatever. This is the time to press. With your family, marriage, relationships, church, and it's storming out there. I think we all need to, saddle up old red and get out there and get after it.
Yeah, love it.
That was good.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Tim, hey, thanks for joining us and enlightening us on like the rodeo culture, especially Jeremy being from where he's from.
The idiot.
We're not going to call him out, but from where he's from. But yeah, thanks for sharing a little bit of your story and how all this ties into Scripture. And again, we just can't emphasize enough that a lot of men feel like they can't share their faith because it'll make them look weak, and I'll be less of a man if I do have a certain level of faith, and that's not true.
Right.
So stay firm in that, men. And if you have any questions for Tim, you know how to reach us. Comment on the video, and we can get you those answers. If you have more rodeo questions, put them in the comments, and we'll figure that out for you. But yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
All right, y'all. Since we just talked about rodeos and cowboys and horses, figured it'd be appropriate we would try a bourbon that we've never had. It's Horse Soldier bourbon. This bourbon is distilled in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm gonna I can't remember all the numbers. This is barrel proof at 121.4 proof. And I really like the story of this distillery because, and it says on the back of the bottle, but it's founded and ran by ex-Green Berets who served in Afghanistan right after 9/11, and they were on horseback in Afghanistan. They got the moniker Horse Soldiers.
And I believe the bottles are pressed from forms that are made from debris, from metal, from the World Trade Center.
Yeah. So really cool story with this. And it's got a horse on it. And again, we're talking about rodeos.
So why not?
Here we go. So let's open this sucker up. Love that sound.
Yeah. Well, it looks like bourbon.
It does look like bourbon. All right, so we're going to rate it on the neat scale. N for the nose, the smell, E for experience, the taste, A for accessibility, and T for texture. And I can smell it from here.
Yeah, you can smell the proof, which is not a bad thing, but just...
Oh, but it's kind of sweet.
It's pleasant.
I can get a strong caramel, get the corn, the sweetness of the corn.
So what's weird is... versus some of the previous ones we've had that are lower proof, this almost like this smells higher proof, but I don't get a bunch of ethanol. It's not like gasoline.
No.
I don't know how to explain that.
It's got a.
So I won't.
When I smelled it from out here, it just had a really pleasant,
Yeah.
sweet odor. It doesn't have a lot of viscosity. It runs down pretty quick. So we'll see. It's definitely 121 proof.
Getting my cough out of the way. There it is. It is, but it's not a painful for a lower proof guy. It is definitely, you know, in the 120s, but it's not painful
No, it's a lot.
for me. It's
I don't know. I've had a lot of higher proof stuff that it was way less burn than that, and maybe it just needs to sit
Than
for a
this?
little bit. Yeah,
really think so.
yeah. I think it drinks it at 121 proof. That's.
Well, I do too, but I don't. To me, the burn is not, in my mind, 121 proof. It's not as I would have thought it'd be more, but like this is tasty.
It's got a good flavor.
It does. It's not. It doesn't taste as sweet as it smells. Again,
No.
not a bad thing. It's just an
No.
observation. But I do still get some notes of like vanilla.
Yeah, a lot of flavor in there.
Yeah.
I get the vanilla, the caramel. It doesn't taste as sweet as it smells.
No, I agree with that.
Okay. So let's rank it out. So on the nose, the smell, I think it smells phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree.
I think from a smell standpoint, I would probably give it a 5.
Oh wow! All right. Okay.
Just because it's got a really complex smell, and it doesn't, like you said, have that really harsh ethanol smell. You concur?
I was gonna say 4, but
4?
I'm not gonna argue from a 5.
Let's do a
so.
4.5. I
Can
don't
we
wanna
do
get
that?
into- I don't,
We can do halves?
We can do whatever we
All
want.
right.
Man. Yeah, it's
All
our
right. Hey,
it's
yeah.
our skill, man.
All
so
right.
let's break it up.
Okay.
So the taste, I like the taste, but it is definitely it's definitely hot for me.
Okay. That's weird because I'm the one that's usually this is pretty hot, so
I
that's
know.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's not bad, but it's not great in my book because of that.
Okay.
And maybe the first drink of the day, I'm in the middle of it. I'm at a 3 on that.
You're a 3.
Yeah, where you at?
I'm at like a 3.87. No, I'm comfortable with the 3.
With the 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm comfortable with the 3. Yeah.
Accessibility, I see it on the shelf a lot. Just never bought a bottle. And at $88 for a barrel proof, I don't think it's terrible.
I wouldn't pay $88 for it.
Yeah.
To me, it's not $88 good. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I
If
don't
put it that way.
disagree. I don't disagree. It's not a terrible price, but I've had a lot better bourbons at
Yeah.
a lower price point. So
Yeah.
probably a little lower on that one from a price standpoint. So probably at about a 2 on there. And then texture, it didn't have a lot of legs on it. It ran down the glass pretty quick, which is surprising. Maybe not as surprising I would think, but and it was hot to me as well. So I don't know. I'm personally at a 2.
I was just say 3. So that's a 2.5.
So we'll split it.
Yep.
So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12. So that's going to put us at a pilgrim, top of the pilgrim. So on a journey, might arrive someday. So definitely recommend supporting their cost.
Absolutely.
And what they stand for on a bourbon standpoint. And if somebody's got conflicting opinion, we'd love to hear about
sure.
it. Like if you're a horse soldier lover out there, definitely put in the comments. Let us know how dumb we are for grading it that low, or how weak I am.
I think we know how dumb we are.
Yeah,
There's no,
you can just tell us.
there's no doubt on that.
Yeah, you can just tell us. So, all right. So we got the Horse Soldier barrel proof at a Pilgrim.
Yep.
Hey, so thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate you watching. It was a great conversation around rodeo and how that pertains.
Thanks to Tim for
thanks,
stopping by.
Yeah, big thanks to Tim for stopping by and joining us for that conversation. Reach out to us. You can email us at the neatdisciples@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, and Instagram, all at the Neat Disciples. And look forward to see you on the next episode.
Cheers, everybody.